Welcome to another heart-centered production by Headwater Sage for the Blake Matthew Mindful Memorial Foundation. So, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
The reason we set this podcast studio up in the first place was so we could bring in people that have received a wellness grant from the foundation, so they can come in and share their story.
Yeah.
Of not just what the foundation has done to help them, but just kind of an open channel for all discussions about our health and our trials and triumphs. And then we've also brought in a lot of our wellness partners, like our providers and different board members and just other members of the community and mental health professionals and whatever. So
Have you launched already?
yeah, so
Okay.
just last week was the first public announcement or web page where all the
Okay.
other, I guess you could have found us on YouTube before, but we only had 2 subscribers, so no one was really following along. But now, hopefully,
Your new website looks awesome.
oh, thanks. Yeah, Taryn, she's a pro, so
Yeah. Looks really good.
yeah, thanks. So, Yellowstone hat, Montana sweatshirt. You said you're moving to Montana? Tell me about this.
I don't know. I went on this trip 2 weeks ago with this veteran organization called Sheepdog. So I go to therapy in Madison at the vet center. I'm an Air Force veteran,
Okay.
and they had this flyer for this Yellowstone snowmobiling trip. And I love snowmobiling. I got into it the last 3 years, and I'm like, what a cool opportunity. It was all expenses paid. I literally just had to get myself to the airport. They covered our rentals, our food, our everything. They gave me money for snacks when I got there. I literally just had to get to the airport. So I was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so we went, and I got there, and I just they're talking about this nonprofit that they created. So it was founded by, he was a Marine, and 15 years ago, he couldn't figure out how to navigate all of his men committing suicide. And so that was a really big challenge for him. And so he started this organization called Sheepdog. And so it's a 3-part organization. So they focus on veterans, first responders, fire, EMS, and that's the community they serve. And then so they have 3 parts. So it's these outdoor adventures that they go on a couple times throughout the year. They're taking a group to Mount Kilimanjaro to hike later this summer. They go to Yellowstone, the Black Hills. They have a farm in Arkansas. And so they just really believe in the importance of getting off the couch. That's their motto. So that's their hashtag they use, get off the couch. And so I got there that night, and I'm just feel really this is my calling, and this is where I'm supposed to be and serve in some capacity in that way with that organization. So I did the outdoor adventure, which was phenomenal. We snowmobiled Yellowstone one day, and then the next day the Gallatin National Forest, and it was just beautiful. We went to the top of this mountain. It was 9,000 feet, and you could just see forever. It was you could see for hundreds of miles. Felt like you were on in heaven, as close to heaven as you could get. And it was just amazing. I met all these incredible people, felt so connected to them and supported. I was able to laugh and just be myself for the first time in years. What felt my roommate and I, we stayed up till midnight laughing every night, and it's just all those masks that I wear of mom and wife and all the things just got to be, and I could just be myself, and it was really beautiful. And in that, it was really painful also, because I was dealing with some personal things, some personal struggles that I had to work through, but I had the support and tools surrounding me in that time, which was beautiful.
This was just a week ago?
2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I feel my life has taken a complete 180 in the last 2 weeks, and I've been broken wide open, and I'm realizing things that I've been experiencing for the last couple months and have known were shifting, but now it's starting to make sense, and I'm able to gain clarity with that. And so, yeah, So
That's
then
got to feel good.
it does. And then so I came home, and then the next part of this organization is they have this program called Warrior Path, and it's a 90-day program. And the first 7 days, you go to their farm in Arkansas, and like it's called Heroes Ranch, and it's just very healing. And they teach you tools. They don't call them tools; they call them practices, because they said that tools you put away, practices you use every single day. So they want to equip you with practices to help with post-traumatic growth and really focus on that. And so it's beautiful. So I'm going the end of this month for 7 days to Arkansas to do that training, and the hopes of getting a job on their staff remotely and seeing what I can do to help other people through their struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on their staff remotely. So does that mean because you plan on staying in Reedsburg and working remotely, or what do you mean by that?
I'm not sure right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm open to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever the wind takes you.
Yeah.
That's a good way to lead, isn't it?
Yeah,
It just
it
feels
is.
it feels good, mysterious too, and exciting.
Definitely. And then the third part is they do these disaster response missions. So like during Hurricane Harvey, they had a group they took down for 3 months to go and kind of rebuild and do things like that. And so there's just a lot of opportunity there to serve and give back. And yeah.
So I know very little about you. I know I met you at the last retreat, the Awaken Your Essence retreat,
Yeah.
and then knew of you before that, but not really much detail about the background on Megan Haag.
Yeah.
And so if you're open and willing just to share with me on like kind of like a summary of your background and your healing journey, I guess.
Okay. So I grew up in Sauk, just down the road. After high school, I moved out to Denver and lived out there for 2 years. I went to school at the Veda Institute and then moved back. I spent a couple years back in the Sauk Prairie area, and I've always felt like it was home, but I always end up leaving, and now I find peace and comfort in knowing I don't have to like always leave my hometown, but sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you outgrow your fish tank and you have to expand. So when I was 25, I wanted to make a difference in the community, and I took an EMT class in Baraboo, and I just really wanted to serve the community in some kind of aspect. So I thought that was the right route to do that. I had done the training and went through that, and while I was doing that, I met one of the preceptors. He was part of the Air National Guard in Madison, and he just, told me about the opportunities he had being in the Air Force for 16 years and just the experience, and it just sounded really amazing. My dad was in the Army, my grandpa was in the Army, and so those military roots are kind of strong. My dad always told me never to join the military. But so when I was 25, I decided to enlist in the Air National Guard and went off to my training. And there was a lot of unexpected that happened in that. I experienced rape from a service member during that time, and I didn't know that my body was like in fight or flight mode, struggling to stay alive. I was in the hospital 13 times in a 3-month span. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They did a spinal tap. Their solution is to just throw a bunch of narcotics at you. And, my body was just trying to heal and deal with what was going on, and I didn't really comprehend any of that at the time. So I made a lot of poor decisions. I ended up getting married in the military to someone that I didn't know that they had a drug addiction problem, and I was being prescribed these narcotics, and they kind of took advantage of that. We ended up having a daughter together, and after that I went through my own period of addiction. I'm really grateful that it was just a very short time and that I was able to get out of that and get the help I needed. So during that time, that was in 2016, 2016, 2017-ish. I was living down in Tennessee and went to rehab in Alabama and kind of got my life back together. I lived in a halfway house for a while. I was homeless on the streets for a while. Just spent a couple visits in jail just trying to find my way. And I'm really grateful that I was able to come back to Wisconsin and kind of rebuild my life. So I've been sober off narcotics for a little over 7 years, which is a huge blessing, and I'm really grateful for. So that kind of started my healing journey back in 2017. It was like kind of like a dark night of the soul, and I just found myself spiritual. I didn't really believe in God at that time. When I was in rehab, I felt all this darkness around me. It felt like people were doing witchcraft around me or something like that. I couldn't explain it. And in that place, I wanted to die. I said, you know, like, God, if you're real, just take me, because, like, this is terrible. I've lost everything I have, and now I have nothing to live for. And it was in that place that something greater than me that I can't explain found me. And I've felt safe and protected ever since then. And even though I hadn't gone through the worst of my struggles yet at that time, I ended up having to sign my rights away to my daughter, and my ex-mother-in-law has custody of her and adopted her, and that's still something I deal with the challenges of that to this day, unfortunately. But I know it's part of a greater plan, and, you know, I have faith and trust that one day, like, we will be reunited this side of heaven or not. And so, yeah, that's been a huge part of my healing journey. And so, yeah, I've just been trying to find ways to deal with the pain in a healthy way and to navigate the challenges I experience.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She just turned 9.
Okay.
Yeah. So the day I left for Yellowstone was her 9th birthday. So that was kind of like an interesting week.
Is there is there zero communication?
Yes.
Yeah. That was part of the
Yes.
agreement.
Yes. And by me making a Facebook post for her birthday, I got served with a protective order from the state of Kentucky.
Really?
Last week. Yeah. So it's
You
just,
can't wish your daughter happy birthday.
No.
Well, publicly.
Right.
Yeah, someday. I feel like just someday she will know
Right.
deep down, and that energetic connection is there
Absolutely.
no matter what. You
Right.
can't get rid of that,
Yeah.
and that could turn into like a magnetic connection. I feel like someday, if it's meant to be, right,
Right.
it will. Are you able to stalk her at all?
No.
No.
No. They're very they don't have social media, or like they
No recent
live in
pictures.
fear, and yeah.
Well, she would be very proud of her mom. I know that.
Definitely.
So you might be moving to Montana.
Maybe.
You're keeping the doors open.
I am.
Tell me what you were feeling going into what was the Tin Man coin you got? Was it the retreat?
It was a retreat.
Okay, that was it? There was nothing
Yeah.
else?
Yep, it was a retreat.
Okay. Tell me how you felt when you applied for that and what you experienced at the retreat, and if there's anything that you could say that felt like you were able to take home with you from that retreat.
I felt really grateful for the opportunity that was available for me to apply, and that I was able to utilize that. The retreat was just phenomenal. Your property is just so beautiful in so many ways, and just there's something very special about that property and everything that you've cultivated there, and it shows. So just stepping foot onto that property, I was just amazed that you have that so close to town, and you just felt like you were stepping into another world.
Sure. So
That was
just
beautiful.
showing up there felt
It did.
good. That's good to hear.
And all the people were incredible. They're talented healers and just have a passion for actually helping people. And you can tell they care, that they're not there just, to make a dollar. And there's a lot of people in the healing space that are that way. So I could just feel energetically it was just different. And yeah, everything from just being barefoot out there to I really enjoyed the art we did with the lines. It was different, but I really enjoyed that. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and just being in the teepee and the sound bath in there and meditating outside to the Reiki we were led in. I did have to leave early, so I wasn't able to do the breath work, but I was able to make that up later on, and that was
Okay.
very profound for me. Yeah, during my breath work session, I was able to be walked through my entire addiction, and it showed me all the love in that, even though it was very painful and hurt. It was from a perspective of love, and it was very beautiful and very healing.
So you did a separate, one-on-one breath work, or was it?
It was
group?
at the gym, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was a group session.
I think it's probably good you did that another day because there was a lot packed into that
Yeah.
day, and I think everyone was exhausted by the time it got to. Well, I mean, after the breath work, big time, and then there was hypnotherapy after that. So you missed the last two things.
Yeah, and I was able to do the hypnotherapy with Charlie then a different time at the Sanctum outside, and that was really profound. And so,
Very cool.
Yeah, everything happened the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How was the hypnotherapy? Did it also walk you back?
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another retreat coming up.
I see that. Yeah, I was talking with Christine about that yesterday. It's exciting.
You're gonna still be in the Reedsburg area?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Would you be interested?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great time.
It's this one will be a little different,
Okay.
but similar, I guess.
Yeah. I just love everything you guys are doing, and I feel like in the last 6 months I've been opened to this whole holistic community of people that think the same way I do, and I didn't know that were, right here in my backyard. And it's nice because I had a lot of friends in the online space that had similar views, but you're not as connected with them as you are in person, to find people that have that similar mindset. So
Yeah.
it's been a huge blessing.
Yeah, I feel lucky to be in Reedsburg
Yeah.
because of that. And it seems like, there probably is pockets like that everywhere,
Right.
just because the world is changing. And I notice these different types of wellness partners we have in our network. I've just starting to see them everywhere,
Right.
not just Reedsburg and Baraboo, but
So I was really grateful to attend the retreat and to just be, to just be.
what was your experience like with the sacred medicine ceremony?
So I had experienced Campbell once previous this year with a different shaman down by Milwaukee, and it was profound.
The Cambo, the cleanse, the puking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she had said that you had to do that 3 times to before you could be introduced to the toad medicine. And
That's what that shaman suggested.
yes, and the second time I had went there, it was very clear that that was it. This was done. I was just supposed to be done, and I had already paid for all 3 sessions, and she refunded me, and it was fine. And so then I found this other community, and it was a huge blessing, but I was still kind of skeptical,
Mm-hmm.
But I went to one of the Sunday services and I just felt home. It was beautiful. I just felt loved and supported, and it was nice to, again, have that community feel. So I went and did another session this fall, and it was rough. I mean, it's rough. The purging is rough. But what you get out of it is so much better than the temporary pain you experience. So yeah.
After the frog medicine, you felt, how did you feel like later that day? Exhausted or energized?
I felt energized and then I felt exhausted, just drained, and I had to be really conscious of how I filled my vessel back up and like what I was putting into my body, and just more conscious of that and the people and energy I surrounded myself with. I just wanted to be around positive people that weren't negative or toxic, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very profound. The session I did in January, I don't remember any of it, and I remember coming out of it and thinking that it didn't work for me, that I was too messed up, and they're like, "Oh, do you remember purging?" I'm like, "Nope." And it was like 2 hours later, so obviously, but it took a lot. Like, I think, most people had to do it like once. I think they said I had to like 4 or 6 times. I don't, which is kind of wild.
The toad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Oh.
it was
Do you feel that toad delivered some medicine that
absolutely,
needed to be delivered?
yes.
Your body wanted?
Yes. And the message I got was surrender, and so I had to surrender. And that was hard because our ego wants to hang on and fight for dear life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It does. As soon as we fight it, it fights back harder.
right.
You feel that it's like I'm sensing that you've surrendered in general since then. I mean, you're just like open to
Yeah.
where the wind is going to blow you.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
He's cute.
He's great.
Little captain. Is that an Air Force hat?
He got it at the airport when we went to Florida
Okay.
in January. Yeah,
So you have the one boy?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's great. He is a little blessing for
Yeah.
sure. He is my greatest teacher.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way to look at it.
It
Yeah,
is.
they are. They are amazing teachers, aren't they?
They are.
If we're looking.
Right.
Well, what else? Anything else you want to talk about?
Um, just to encourage people that the resources are available to help you on your healing journey, and there's people willing to walk alongside of you on your journey and listen to you, just hold space for you to kind of show you the way, and it's beautiful. And you're not alone, no matter what you're going through.
Out of all the different sorts of therapies and treatments and coaches and like tools that the wellness partners of the foundation can teach, what do you feel most drawn to, or what do you feel has helped you the most? Whether it be, I don't know, just in your own words, what would you say?
I would say just kind of working with Christina and having a more holistic mind, and the breath work was just so profound that, just your breath can, it was just amazing. I was kind of like a skeptic. I'm very open to different healing modalities, but even like the first time I did Reiki, I'm like, how are they going to heal me without touching me? But you can feel the energy. It's there. And so just having an open mind and trusting.
Yeah. It's amazing that we don't think twice about the Wi-Fi signal coming to our cell phone, but we're skeptical of Reiki.
Right.
Yeah, it was the same way.
Yeah.
Krista's So good at it.
She is. She's phenomenal.
And you've had some holistic health coaching from Christina?
Yes.
Okay.
And just being out in nature, like her hikes she does are great. I went last Tuesday and it was exactly what I needed. Just to be out in nature. That's so profound and so underutilized, I feel like. Anybody can get out in nature and take their shoes off and get grounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why if you're a nature nut, that's why it's so hard to not feel like you just want to move to Montana when you go to Montana.
Right, yeah.
Because it is, the views are just so much, they're grander out there. They're farther, they're bigger, they're taller, and I know that if I would have never seen Wisconsin before, I would come to the Driftless area and just fall in love with it.
Yeah.
But there is something so special about out west. It's hard to not. So don't blame you for feeling drawn there.
And I'm like always super connected to the mountains. I was born in Colorado, so like
Sure.
I went to Colorado last year to go to a concert at Red Rocks, and I'm like, oh, the mountains. But when I landed in Montana, it was just like a different kind of home. It was just like more vast and expansive, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think it could get better than Denver.
Yeah, it's in your genes.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Megan, you're eligible to apply for another Tin Man coin.
Okay.
So the way that the program works now is that after somebody uses their first one, if they come in to share their story on a podcast, they're eligible for another one. So
That's incredible.
so don't.
Very generous.
Well, it's a way to encourage work, because sometimes people might have the idea that they can come in and sort of win this magic prize, which isn't the case, because there is no such thing. But they can win an opportunity to meet some people that can teach them new practices.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to use that now.
I like Tool and Toolbox
Yeah.
and Check Engine Light. I really do. But practices, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, because it's not a tool you take out when you need it. It's just a new habit.
Yeah. Even learning, like, we learned 4-7-8 breathing, and just learning how to do that in stressful situations, like, it's been a game
Is it
changer.
in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8?
Yeah.
There's so many cool ways we can breathe. I can
There
just
is.
invent our own,
Right?
you know. I'm going to do 2, 6, 12, 1. Or what is it? Box breathing? 4,
Yeah.
4, 4, 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you've done the heavy, deep ones that
Right.
like get your hands locked up and all your muscles locked up, and then you start crying, and
Right.
yeah, it's amazing.
There's so many things.
It makes me, it's kind of like you look at, there's so many different things people can do, right? They could go become a monk and meditate on the top of a mountain, or they can do some breath work, or they can experience sacred earth medicine, whether it be from a plant or a mushroom
Yeah.
or an amphibian. But they kind of all lead to the same thing of
Yeah.
like this, I don't know, it's hard to just like put a word to it, because as soon as we reduce anything to words, it's like we've lost so much already. There is
Yeah.
like no words, but it's just the appreciation for being alive in this little tiny flash of a pan moment that we're here.
Absolutely.
Just being thankful for that, and surrender to the universe. It feels good. It's
It does.
kind of scary, but you can trust it at the same time.
Right. And knowing you're always supported. And the universe always has your back.
Yeah. Well, Reedsburg will be sorry to lose Megan Haag, but chances are you'll be back. So
I can always visit.
Well, thank you for coming in and for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And then I hope you get to enjoy the 70-degree weather we might get today.
Right?
Oh my God.
It's wonderful out there.
yeah, I need to make some time for that too.
Yeah. Get some sunshine and
Yeah.
get out in nature barefoot.
Do you feel good after helping Taryn move yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
It was wonderful. Beautiful place. I'm really
Yeah.
happy for them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's good.
And now we're neighbors, kind of. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
We'll see you around.
Yeah. You'll have to come visit.
All right, I will.